Welcome to Shom Achshav on the Daf. Shir is Lelu Nishmas, Rav Yitzchak Hutner Zatzal, whose yortzeit is today Chof Kislev. The Gemara in Amud Aleph brings a discussion. Is there Lina Beroisha Mizbeach? Is Lina Mu'elis Beroisha Mizbeach? Meaning, if you have a limb on top of the Mizbeach, will there be Lina, will it become nicer on top of the Mizbeach if it falls off? To explain the reason why there should not be Lina on top of the Mizbeach, let's see Me'ayin what's brought down the Sefer Arvei Nachal in Parshas Chut Chukas Jewish base. And he explains there, what's the idea of a lina? What's the remez, or the depth that we have on something that's called lina? If it was nicer, if it stayed overnight, so then it becomes puzzle. So he says, this is the remez for the following. When a person does a mitzvah, he learns Torah. So during that day, he could still have a memory, he could still feel it. It's still in him. He just did the Torah in the mitzvah. But when he goes to sleep at night, the neshama goes up to Shemaim and brings up all the Torah and mitzvahs that he did, and he stays in Shemaim. When he comes down the next day, he's supposed to forget all the good things he did the day before and continue on to his avodah of this day. But that's all if the Torah and mitzvah they did were shalom, were kosher, and then miskabel in Shemaim. But if the Torah and mitzvah had a psul, had a pgam, so they don't stay in Shemaim. They come back down here to the world. And then it stays with the Adam the next day. So he says, he says, if a person still remembers and he's benefiting, he's feeling so good about the Torah and mitzvah that he did the day before, that tells you that Torah and mitzvah has a chisar and has a b'gam, has something wrong with it. And he says, that is the remez of lino. Psar kodesh, gedusha, it's something kodesh. If it stayed overnight, meaning it remained till the next day, so not only that it doesn't have gedusha, it becomes possible. It's much worse. Like any other thing which has Kedusha, when the Kedusha leaves it, it becomes Tameh. Like a human being, as brought down in the Zevachim, when a person dies, so a human being has the biggest tumor, because it was so holy, there was a neshama there. When the neshama leaves, it goes to the other direction. Also, this basar, meat, that has Kedusha in it, if it stays overnight, so not only doesn't become like a chulin, it becomes possible, it becomes worse than a chulin. And this is the remez to the Torah in the midst of the Adam, that if he stays with him overnight, meaning he doesn't have, it's not shalom, that means it's davar pasul. It's a psul, a begam in the Torah in the mitzvah. And he explains with this the Gemara and Yuma that says that the Torah is called sam, could be sam chaim or sam movis, could be something great, could be chas v'shalom like poison. What does it mean? If you use the Torah right, that person is learning Torah lishma, so the Torah goes up and it's unbelievable what it does for Adam. But if he does it in the wrong way, so it's pushed off and it gets worse because now it becomes like lina, becomes something nicer, becomes something which is bad. At kan dive Arvei Nachal. I saw a quote, the Arvei Nachal, and we want to connect it to our Gemara, but the Arvei Nachal himself does not mention our Gemara. And we're going to try to connect it in the following way. The Likutei Yehuda brings the name of the Imre Emes that he explains. What's the idea that ein lina b'rosh Mizbeach? Because in the place which is very holy, there's really no shena, there's no sleeping. Because the whole idea of lina is something that went over time, meaning there's noiser. Noiser means it was supposed to be until a certain time, and now you pass the time, so you have noiser. But when you're someplace which is so holy, it's l'malam min hazman. Once it's l'malam min hazman, there's no noiser. That's why in lina b'rosh Mizbeach, because Rosh Mizbeach is such a holy place, so therefore there's no lina. And he goes on to explain that's the pshat. Yaakov Avinu did not sleep for 14 years when he was in yeshiva because he wasn't in a place which is l'malam min hazman. And that's what happened when he reached the Mokoim. He reached the Mokoim Beis HaMikdash. He didn't realize Mokoim HaMikdash. Then he got up. It says, Ein zekim Beis Elokim manoira Mokoim hazeh. He said, how can I sleep here? It's a place of me'al hazman, a place where there's no sleeping. There's no elements of time. So merely connecting and ending the idea of the Arvei Nachal. In Olam Hazeh, that with under the element of time, every day a person finishes the avodah, everything goes up to Shemaim, stays over there. He comes down here in the Torah mitzvah of yesterday, or do not, he doesn't remember them the next day. But once you get to a place l'malam min hazman, once a person comes to Lasid Lavoi, to a place, or to Shemaim, there the Torah and mitzvah surround him and he's there, because there's no element of time. So everything that he does stays with him and remains with him constantly. And this connects to what the Baal Tanya brings in Shulchan Aruch Harav, in Lagabe Hilchos Talmud Torah. He says a person learns Torah in this world, even if he forgot the Torah, but it remains with him, Lasid Lava. Lasid Lava is going to know all this Torah. Because the idea is that whatever you do remains, just remains B'rosh Mizbeach. It doesn't remain over here. Here, Adrab, if something remains, it becomes nicer. But in the place of Gedusha, so things remain Beroisha Mizbeach, Ein Lina Moyelis, Beroisha Mizbeach. Anyone who wants to join or sponsor the Shom Machshava Shiurim, please email shommachshava@gmail.com.